Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King. And today I'm going to be giving you part 35 of What If Naruto Was Given a Second Chance. Remember to get this one to 300 likes as usual, share this to all of your friends on your social media platform. And also stay tuned for What If Naruto Unlock a Strange Power over on Anime King 2 for you guys to enjoy. And remember, if you're new and this is the first time you hear my voice, and you enjoy the videos on both Anime King and Anime King 2, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be planning talking back to all of you. So yeah, without further ado guys, what do you say we begin this new episode? Start the intro. So the last time we left off, Obito was planning the stage for Nagato to face off against Naruto. He knew that at Naruto's current state, he would be able to defeat Nagato, even with those Rinnegan eyes. From what he has seen so far, Naruto had no trouble taking down the S-rank criminals of the Akatsuki. And up to this point, they haven't even seen him use the Kyuubi's power yet. And they knew that he used up till 4 tails when he was facing off against Orochimaru. So that showed that he's hiding something big. Well, Obito already proposed his plan to Nagato, which Nagato agreed to, as Obito had literally made him see that, despite those eyes of his, Naruto is strong. And Nagato couldn't help but agree. Even though he didn't want to say it out loud, he knew that Naruto was strong. Stronger than anyone he has faced so far. Back with the group, they came back to Konoha, as they had the office sealed off, as Sasuke told Tsunade Jiraiya was there as well, as they couldn't believe it. Itachi wiped out his clan because of a mission, but they just couldn't go by Sasuke's words. Even though they believed him, they didn't have any proof against Danzo. Well, Naruto did, as he flashed at Teiwaya. He then brought her back to the office, as he made her remove the contact lenses that she had on, which it was inscribed with Fuinjutsu and Nature Chakra, so that Danzo couldn't place his Sharingan Genjutsu on her. As Naruto made it project on the wall for them to see exactly what happened, now they had the full proof. They also talked to Sarutobi about this, as Sasuke was going to have his eye transplant first, and then they were going to get rid of Root by taking off the head that was Danzo, as Naruto told him that the rest of Root agents can be very important for Konoha. They needed them, as Tsunade and Jiraiya agreed with that. After that, the meeting was over, as Naruto brought Teiwaya. She met Anko and both of them didn't get along at first, as Naruto had to quell the situation between them. Some time passed as things were getting along quite well. She also met Yujiro and Hayate, and well, she became more respectful after Naruto told her that she shouldn't be so hostile against these people. They are good people after all. As things was going well, Sasuke was on bed rest, Sakura taking care of him because he could not see right now. His eyes were still being recovered from the transplant that Tsunade had conducted on him. Naruto was given a solo mission. At the border between the nations, there was a large group of bandits stopping all caravan and killing the people and robbing them, as it was his job to go out there and exterminate them. But this was just all a setup, as it was rain ninjas who were dressing like bandits as they were going around causing all of this mayhem. As Naruto left the village, Zetsu had saw Naruto leaving the village. He reported back as we then found the original pain, Nagato, as he was being transported by Konan to get to a safe enough distance, as he also had the summoning pain with him. It's time that they begin their plan. So yeah guys, so it's basically the last where we left off. You guys can switch across to the place to check it out for yourself. So what do you say begin this new episode? We begin this episode with Naruto, as he was hopping from tree branch to tree branch, making his way towards the destination where the bandits were. He was a couple of hours out. He was going to make it in good time though. It would be a simple mission just to take care of them. They still needed time for Sasuke to recover, to go after Danzo. Because once Danzo fall, the rest of the root agents will be there without a master, even though they have been trained to do things that normal ninjas didn't. They were still needed because they do the things after all that normal ninjas could not do. That is why Naruto was still needed. As Naruto made his way, but he didn't know why he had that sinking feeling in his gut. As Kurama could feel this because of their connection. "Hey kid, you okay?" he asks. "I don't know what it is," said Naruto, "but I have a weird feeling like something bad is going to happen." "You have that all the time," said Kurama. "Yeah, I suppose I'm just cautious," said Naruto, as he hopped on another tree branch and hopped off. A little distance away, Zetsu had been watching Naruto go on, as it was the black and white half. The white half then spoke. "Are we going to go back to Konoha and watch the chaos unfold?" "Are you crazy?" the black half said. "You know how much pain despises that village. So, he's not leaving without tearing to cinders. Do you want to get caught up in that blast as well?" "Well, I just suppose it would be fun," the white half said. "But what is our job again?" he asked. "Just shut the hell up, Chatterbox," said Black Zetsu, "and let's get going." And with that they sank back underground. Moments later, as Obito was currently sitting down, his Akashi cloak blowing, as he was on top of a hill looking down at the luscious grass below him. Zetsu then emerged from the ground. "Is everything going according to plan?" asked Obito. "Well, for now it is," said White Zetsu, "but you don't seem very confident that Nagato is going to win this battle." Obito didn't say anything for a few seconds as he looked down. Whether it be Nagato or Naruto that win this battle, it doesn't matter, because neither of them are coming out of this uninjured. And once everything is said and done, I will be the one that is left behind. I will be the one there to get the spoils of the battle and collect what I need. "But what if Naruto defeat him without getting so much of a scratch?" said White Zetsu. "Despite how delusional he is, Nagato is not any pushover, even though we don't know the full extent of the Kyuubi Jinchuriki power yet. Nagato is going to cause some serious damage. As you can already see, he's planning on risking his own home to bring the Kyuubi Jinchuriki down. You know, that guy's really something. Fighting a guy back at your own place. What if Naruto go crazy and let out 9 tails right there? The entire hidden ring will be wiped off the map." "That is what we're counting on," said Obito. "After this loss, it will infuriate him to no end. That is where the both of you come in, to direct him exactly where Nagato has gone back to. And he will just charge right in there, knowing him. He loves too much and he cares too much. Family means all to him. He will charge right in there and attack. With no level head, Nagato should be able to hurt him badly. Or he should be crazy enough just to bring down Nagato. But one of them will fall." "Sounds like a perfect plan," said White Zetsu. "Just keep an eye on him," said Obito. "Will do," White Zetsu said as they sank into the ground and headed off. Obito stood there as he just simply looked down. There is nothing that will change his plan right now. Things are playing right into his palm. Time skip. Naruto made his way as he came to a stop. As he was scouting out the bandits, there were indeed a lot of them. He could understand why no trading was going through. These guys were taking everything for themselves. But something was strange and wrong right here. Despite them being thugs and low life, bandits aren't that stupid. They knew that someone would hire a ninja to come and stop them from what they're doing. But yet, they haven't moved. They have stayed here. Staying in the same position. Staying here just robbing and attacking people. This seemed off for some reason. "There you go again, overthinking things," said Kurama, as Naruto narrowed his eyes. "So, how are you going to do this?" Kurama asked. "Well, they are bandits," said Naruto. "All I have to do is introduce myself and get them all riled up. And once they try to leave, I'll end them," Naruto said. And with that, clones poofed into existence, already knowing their objective as all of them scattered. As Naruto made his way, waiting for 5 more seconds, he jumped down. As he landed to see a man standing there, he had an X on his cheek, as the man was holding a very large katana over his shoulder, just walking around. He seemed to be patrolling this area. "Hey there," said Naruto. The man quickly spun around, but he saw nothing. The man scratched the back of his head. Am I losing my mind? He thought to himself. Oh, sorry, you're not, said a voice. As, before the man could even utter the next word, his throat was slashed by a kunai. His body dropped into the ground. Naruto grabbed him and threw him up, as the man was grabbed by a ninja wire and pulled off into the distance. As Naruto simply unsheathed both of his blades, as he made his way towards the heart of the camp. Walking around, everyone eyes Naruto towards him, but neither of them said anything. Were they just that scared? As he narrowed his eyes at each and every one of them. Nice to meet you all, he said, with a friendly smile on his face. I think you might all have heard of me. The name is Naruto Uzumaki. Well, better known as the Golden Blur, he said. It threw him for a loop when no one reacted. They seemed very calm and cautious. One of the bandits rushed towards him with precise speed that was not fit for a bandit. The man unsheathed a tonto and swung towards Naruto's skull, as Naruto blocked it with his blade before spinning and slicing right into the man, kicking his butt down to the ground. I assure all of you, if you are that stupid as this man, you're all going to fall pretty easily, he said. A battle cry could be heard as all of them came rushing forward. Naruto jumped away as this threw him for a loop. Something was definitely wrong here. They were attacking him. Instead of normal bandits, when they heard about his name, they always run in fear and panic. As Naruto felt danger senses go off in his mind, he had to duck a large head cleaver that nearly took his head off. As he spun around and lashed out with a kick, his kick was blocked by the blade. It was another thing. These people weren't ordinary bandits, but still, they were no match for Naruto. Something then came raining out of the sky. The bandits all looked up as they saw it was kunais. Naruto waved to them as he vanished. The kunais landed, all of them, explosive notes on them. Boom! The entire area was shook violently. Tearing earth, stones, trees, everything was blown away. All of the bandits that was in these sections was completely blown to pieces. As Naruto appeared beside one of his clones in a flash, as there was a lake over to the side, Naruto felt something as he felt the buildup of chakra. Water style, water dragon! As a dragon emerged from the lake, Naruto and his clone jumped away as a water dragon decimated the area that he was standing on. Water style, water bullet! Several dozen water bullets came at him from different areas. As Naruto quickly went through hand sign, wind style, wind dome as he slammed his hands together. A massive wind dome was erupted all around him that blocked all of the water bullets. He then compressed the wind dome and fired off in all directions as the force of wind smashed into the bandits all around him. Bandits knowing ninjutsu. This was something different. As he then felt something swift coming towards him, he turned just in time to block a blade with his own. As he looked in the face of this bandit, the man, his eyes were sharp and narrowed, like he was calculating the fight. These weren't ordinary bandits. Naruto jumped back as the man came upon him once again. The man jumped and slashed down at him. Naruto held up his blade. The blade made contact with Naruto's as Naruto's feet broke the ground. The man was strong, yes, incredibly strong so. The man then gave Naruto a smile before he substituted, leaving a log in his place, and his jacket was still around the log. It was then that Naruto noticed the jacket was filled with explosive tags. Boom! An explosion tore through the area that Naruto was. Did you think that got him? Another one asked as the man reappeared beside him. Well, he is the Golden Blur. It's gonna take much more than that to take him down. The man said that just detonate his jacket. You're damn right about that, said Naruto, as the man felt a hand grab the back of his throat before his head was smashed down into the ground hard. As Naruto stomped on the man's back before smashing his fist right into the other's nose, breaking it. As he grabbed the man's body and put it in front of him, blocking several kunais that pierced the man, before throwing the man towards them. As he went through hands and took in a deep breath, Naruto released a slicing wind blade that literally tore through the man and decapitated the other three behind him. As he had to duck, several more water balls came to take off his head. Flipping around, he grabbed the man that he was standing on and threw him, as the man was enveloped in a blast of water. Naruto jumped away as he landed back in the clearing. As he looked around, he was still surrounded by these bandits. Just how much of them were there? Meanwhile, at Konoha, as Tsunade was currently sitting at her desk, going through some paperwork. She had sent Naruto off this morning, as he was a solo mission to deal with a couple of bandits that were disrupting the trading route. She didn't know why. She only felt this feeling once something bad happened. Or something bad was going to happen. But her body felt racked. Yes. Like something was wrong. Like soon enough something was going to happen that was going to make her regret everything. She tried to shrug off that feeling, but no matter what she did, it always came back. As she shook her head, trying to get those thoughts out of her mind, as she reached back towards the pen and she accidentally bumped the picture frame that was on her desk. Before she could caught it fall though, as it fell right on the face. She heard a cracking sound. Tsunade was very superstitious, so seeing something like this omen was very bad. As she picked it up, it was a picture of her, Naruto, Jiraiya, and Shizune. When they first brought her back to Konoha, that week they spent having fun, before they came back to Konoha. And now, the glass over Naruto. Face was cracked. Her heart felt like it skipped a beat right there. She didn't know why. This feeling was putting her on edge. She was the one who knocked it over, right? This wasn't any superstition thing. He was just taking care of a couple of bandits. There wasn't anything that's going to be wrong. She tried to calm herself. Meanwhile, at the barrier department, the barrier that was all over Konoha was being monitored by shift every time. As the ninjas were inside, keeping a good key on the barrier to make sure anyone or anything stay outside that shouldn't be in Konoha. Meanwhile, at the Eastern Patrol guard post, as 4 ninjas are out there, currently guarding the place. They were quite bored. Things have been really bored because people stopped trying doing anything stupid after the rumors about the golden blur. Konoha was something of a high priority right now. After all, ninjas were scared to even come near the borders from other nations, scared and fearing the golden blur name. It was like Minato Namikaze all over again. After all, he was his father. He had a flee on site order, and now his son has it as well. As 2 of the guards were playing cards, suddenly, the one on the left, he was a censor, but not at a extended degree like that. The man told them to move, as they took his warning a bit too late. The shed that the 2 of them were inside playing cards were bombarded by paper shurikens, as the entire thing came crashing down. It sliced through the support beam of a small shed and also sliced it into 2 men inside. The other 2 went back to back as the both of them pulled out a kunai. Suddenly, they were grabbed around the waist by something that lifted them off the ground. They didn't understand what the hell was going on until they saw it came to view. It was a chameleon. The both of them shrugged and they started panic to get out, but they couldn't. As the chameleon mouth opened wide, someone was inside of it. The man then extended his hand as 2 black rods were fired towards them, as it pierced them right in the heart, as their body dropped with a thud, as the chameleon tongue threw them away, discarding their body. Conan, the summoning pain, said, "Do it now," he said. Suddenly, Conan's body started to peel off until 10 paper clones were there, right beside her. The summoning pain then went through hand signs. He slammed his hand on the ground as a ceiling array spread out with a poof. Someone walked out of the smoke. It was Tendo Pain. "Do you remember the plan?" asked Tendo as he looked towards Conan. She slowly nodded as he then looked back towards her. "Conan, have you lost faith in me?" "What are you talking about?" she said. "Your heart. It is not in it," he said. "Because what we're about to do, I can't afford to put my heart in it," she said. He narrowed his eyes at her. "Conan, this is all for the sake of peace. To make our dream become a reality. Don't lose faith in me now." "I have not," she said. "Alright then. Let's begin with the plan." Back at the barrier core, as they were just there having a normal day, when suddenly, someone just entered the barrier. One of them quickly spoke up, as the other one then snapped his head around. "Wait, multiple of them now. We have to report this immediately." Right in the heart of the village, "Summoning jutsu," said the summoning pain, as he summoned a large dog, a rhino, a bird, and a centipede. The massive creature started to wreak havoc in Konoha, as the paper clones start to go into different directions to attack as well, throwing off the location so they couldn't pinpoint where the actual threat was. After all, Konoha is a very large place. Back at the Uzumaki Manor, Kushina dropped to the ground as she was panting. As she looked up, as she had a smile on her face though. "Stop holding back on me. If I go too hard on you, brat, I might end up killing you," said Teiwaya. "By the way, why did you want me to help with your training again?" "Because, unlike the others, you won't hold back so much because they're scared to hurt me. But they should know, if I don't get real training, I'll never become as strong as Big Brother." "Do you actually believe you can become as strong as Naruto?" asked Teiwaya. "Of course I can, and I'm going to become stronger one day. So strong that I'll be the one to protect everyone and also protect him." "So, no more holding back," said Kushina as she rushed forward. Teiwaya simply smirked. At least the kid had some spunk. Suddenly, Kushina jumped forward with a fist right at Teiwaya's face, as Teiwaya grabbed her hand simply with ease. Kushina spun and brought her on her other leg as Teiwaya grabbed it with her other hand. Kushina then brought down her other hand right on top of Teiwaya's skull, but Teiwaya simply threw her right up in the air before jumping up and grabbing her, as she then threw her not so hard to the ground. As Kushina dropped with a small thud, "Damn it," she said, as she slowly got back to her feet. "I have to become stronger." Suddenly, Teiwaya turned her head. "Hey, what's wrong?" asked Kushina. "We're not done yet." "Smoke," said Teiwaya. As Kushina was confused, she turned her head. She then noticed that smoke was coming from the village. Kushina ran off as she ran towards the edge of the compound, looking over. Seeing that they were high on top of the Hokage's monument, they could see, as Teiwaya made her way up there. "What the hell?" Teiwaya said. Meanwhile, in the heart of the compound, as Hayate had to duck and dodge, as he jumped away, he was being attacked relentlessly by Anko and Yujiro. As he flipped, Yujiro flipped towards him as she brought down her blade. He blocked it with his own blade. As he flipped and dodged Anko's strike, a smile was on his face though. "We can't have you being too rusty. After all, you're still going on mission," said Yujiro with a smile on her face. "Well then, my darling wife," he said. "Let's see what you got." "Don't forget about me," said Anko behind him, as he simply smirked and ducked right under her swipe before kicking her right in the stomach. Anko flipped as she went through hand sign. "Senijashu," she said, as snakes exploded from her sleeve and went towards him. As he sliced up the snakes, forcing Anko to jump away, as he smirked. It was then that they saw smoke. He was the first one that saw it. "What the hell is that?" said Hayate, as he walked forward, making his way. "Where's Kushina?" said Yujiro as she looked around. "I believe she's still at the front of the compound, with Teiwaya." The three of them quickly made their way, rushing through the compound gate as they made their way outside. "Mom!" a voice screamed. As Yujiro saw Kushina rushing towards her, she quickly made forward as she grabbed onto her daughter. "What's going on?" It's Teiwaya. This man, he just came and he," as she started to stutter. It was then that Teiwaya was thrown violently as she crashed right in front of them. Bruises and cuts were all over her body as she groaned in pain. Uncle quickly rushed forward. "What the hell happened?" "Akatsuki," said Teiwaya. Hayate quickly jumped in front of the both of them as he slashed down several paper shurikens. He then looked up to see a girl. She was wearing the Akatsuki cloak with two wings on her back that were made from paper. "Move," he said. As Uncle grabbed on Teiwaya as he jumped out of the way, paper shurikens came stabbing down on the ground. "Take her and run now!" Hayate yelled towards Yujiro. She quickly grabbed onto Kushina. The moment she turned though, she came face to face with another one, as he had piercings over his face. He was wearing the same clothing. He had short, spiky hair. He raised his hand. You two are the most important," he said. "With your death, it will break him." Suddenly, Yujiro didn't know what hit her, but all that she felt was a force. With Kushina still in her hand as the both of them were sent sailing away as they crashed on the ground, Yujiro hugged her daughter tight, holding on to her so she would get all the brunt of the attack, as Kushina was in the safe confinements of her mother's arm, who was holding on to her, as Yujiro was the one that rolled on the ground and took all the damage from the attack. She collapsed on her back. Mom! Mom! Kushina screamed as Yujiro groaned in agony and pain. Hayate rushed forward as he swung his blade towards Tendo Pain. The man simply sidestepped him and moved back before raising his hand. Another blow as Hayate was sent sailing. Universal pull, said Pain as he pulled the man back towards him. As he pulled out a rod, Hayate's eyes went wide but he swiped down his blade. But suddenly his blade was knocked out of his hand by a paper shuriken as the rod extended from Pain's cloak. Stab! Everyone's eyes went wide as the rod pierced right through Hayate's chest. The man coughed up blood as Pain threw his body aside. Hayate died, the both of them screamed on top of their lungs as Yuchio quickly went in front of her daughter. Uncle, get her out of here now! As Uncle had created a clone that was holding on to Teiwaya. No, Mom, I can't leave you behind, Kushina yelled. Uncle, do it now, she screamed. Hongo hesitated for just a second, but she saw the look in Yuchio's eyes. Tears were pouring from her eyes, and she had her blade gripped tightly. Uncle simply nodded as she grabbed onto Kushina, knowing that if anything, she'd want her daughter to live. Konan, said Pain, as Konan pointed one of her paper wings towards the clone, and Kushina, who was screaming and kicking for Uncle to release her. She was about to fire off the papers, but suddenly she came to a stop as a memory flashed through her head. Yeah? What about it? Said Yaiko. So, we're going to protect everyone, right? Of course we are, said Yaiko. All of the children who have no family, all of the orphans. We're going to protect all of them to make sure all of them live a wonderful life and not go through the same thing that we went through. After all, the kids are the future, right? Don't you agree with me, Nagato? Said Yaiko. Yeah, said Nagato, with his hair shadowing his eyes, as the three kids were talking about their future for the inner ring. Konan was snapped out of her thought. She couldn't. Seeing the crying girl down there, she couldn't attack her. As she let them run, Konan, Tendo said, but she still didn't answer or do anything. Yuchio leapt forward. Crescent blood moon, she said, as several replicas of her started to appear all around Pain, all of them waving their blade up in the sky. He simply raised his hand as she was thrown back violently, all of their after image just blown away like he was never there. He raised his hand once more. She was pulled roughly from the ground, her body coming straight towards him. She flicked a kunai and threw it right towards his face, but he tilted his head just in time and grabbed her by the throat before smashing her body straight down to the ground. As he extended a rod, he then came down and stabbed it right into her chest. Her head dropped to the side as she couldn't see Uncle or Kushina anymore. That means they got away. As she looked over to her dead husband, tears well up in her eyes. At least her daughter got away. She knew there was one person who could protect them all. Naruto, she said, as her heart finally stopped. As Tendo then looked towards Konan. What happened? He said. I couldn't, she said. You should return. It's okay, he said to her. You should return right now. It's time I get my vengeance on this village. So you should go. Now, he said. Her body burst into paper as she made her way. Pain then stepped forward as he looked back at the compound. He knew he couldn't get inside. There was a seal. There was a sealing system that he could see with his gun that would have instantly sent off an alarm the moment he stepped inside. After all, they didn't want to bring the golden blur back just yet. So with that, he calmly made his way. Meanwhile, as Sasuke was still lying down in a bed, his eyes still bandaged up. At this moment, he's completely useless. Well, he saw himself that way. Suddenly, an explosion shook the place. As Sakura burst inside, Sasuke-kun, something's wrong, she said. As Sasuke got out of bed, he couldn't see anything. What is it? I don't know, said Sakura, as another explosion shook the place violently, making Sasuke got to his feet, but he still could not see anything with his damn bandage and his eyes were still not fully recovered as explosions kept on going off. "You stay here," said Sakura. "I'll go check it out." As she quickly made her way. He felt so helpless right now, unable to do anything because of these damn bandages, as he couldn't even see, as he just had to put his faith in Sakura. And the damn dope. Where was the damn dope when you need him, he thought to himself. Meanwhile, Snazzy was on top of the tower. She knew that something bad was going to happen. That feeling, that omen that she got. She knew that something bad was going to occur. And right now, the village was being attacked. Lady Hokage, they have spotted one of them. It's the members of the Akatsuki, wearing the black cloak with the red clothes on them. "Give me his position," said Snazzy as she stepped forward. "And you two, come with me," she said, with the other two Anfus behind her, as she was going to deal with this herself. No need to that voice. As they all turned to see Pain, Tendo descended upon the tower. She narrowed her eyes at this fellow. She didn't know why, but she saw his face before. "Who are you?" she asked. "I am Pain. But it seems you have forgotten me. After all, we did meet a long time ago. But time has passed a lot, and a lot of changes has been made. I don't know who the hell you are, but stepping in here and trying to attack an entire village, you have made a big mistake, Pain. This village has harmed my village, even taking away people from me. You are the ones that have made a mistake. If you survive, you shall know that this village has been given back the pain that it has seek upon others." "What are you talking about?" she said. "In a few seconds you will understand. You will know and understand true pain, because that's what the world needs to grow up. But first, this village must feel what pain is." "No pain," he said. "Feel pain." As he started to descend from the ground. "You come back here," Snazzy shouted. Meanwhile, Anko was holding on tight to Kushna, who was crying her eyes out. She saw her dad got killed right there. And her mom, she didn't even know what happened to her mom. "Put me down, Anko, we have to go back." "I'm sorry, kid," Anko said, tears well up in her eyes as they started to stream. She knew that the Akatsuki were powerful. She couldn't, as she knew that whatever Yuichiro might want, she'd want her daughter to be okay. And whoever this is, they're in big trouble. She didn't notice someone up in the sky, as she saw someone just flying there. She reached down, as she was about to send chakra to the tattoo on her arm, but suddenly, everything in front of her started to become dust, as everything was blown violently. Her eyes went wide as she quickly turned her back towards it, as she covered all over Kushna, as her clone covered over Teiwai to protect her as well. A few seconds earlier, Pain was in the middle of the air, his arms extended outwards. "Almighty. Push," he said, as everything was enveloped in a bright light. Meanwhile, at Tanzuka-gai, a village in the Fire Country borders, none other than one Jiraiya just made his way out of a brothel with a big smile on his face when he noticed birds. Hundreds of birds flying from the village. "What the hell?" he said. He made his way until he got to a higher point when he saw smoke off into the distance. Off. "That's Konoha," he said. With that, he took off top speed. Something was wrong, and he knew it. Meanwhile, back in the village, well, what was left of the village, it was just a giant crater now. The only things that survived was the monument and the things behind the monument, such as Naruto's house and many others that were behind that. But the rest of the village, the entire place was completely destroyed. It was such a surprise attack. The rest of the others were out dealing with all of the summoning creatures. No one had any idea about Tendo Pain. All of the summons were now gone. In the forest, in a hollow tree, the summoning Pain made his way back. As he went through hand sign, suddenly, Tendo Pain didn't arrive. Konan looked towards Nagato. "Is it done?" she asked. "Yes. They have finally received the pain that they should have received a long time ago," he said. "Now, it is time that we set out. But before that, contact him now." Konan nodded. A few moments later, they were making their way back towards the hidden rain as Zetsu emerged from the ground. Seeing that you're going back right now, I guess that it was a success, Black Zetsu said. Yes, now, it is you that are left in at the plan. Zetsu nodded. I'll get right on it, White Zetsu said. You can count on us. As they quickly made their way back on the ground, Konan just looked over back at Pain. As she didn't know why, but from seeing that little girl crying and stopping herself from killing that little girl, she felt something in her heart just turn. She didn't lose faith in Pain, but what was this feeling, she thought to herself. Time skip to a bloody and gruesome scene. The place was littered with bodies from the bandits that Naruto had killed, and there was a lot of them. But Naruto had vast chakra reserves, so it's not like that would put him to a near weakened state, but he was still a bit out of it. Other than that, he was fine. Something still doesn't feel right about all of this. Yeah, I agree with you, said Kurama. So you do now, said Naruto. Well, throughout all of your travels, whenever your name might come up, or people might recognize who you are, especially bandits, they will always flee. They will always run for their life. Because they know how dangerous you are, but these guys, even after you kill them, they just came at you. Like it was their job to do this. Like they were devoted. Like they were going towards someone's plan. That was a weird thing. Yeah, I know what you mean, said Naruto. I still have this sinking feeling in my stomach. And if anything bad was going to happen in the village, Yujiro and the others, they would call me. As Naruto created that clone, before the clone suddenly dispelled, let me check on something, he said. Meanwhile, at the hidden rain, for once, the rain was not pouring. In a small shack, there was an old man. As his eyes suddenly snapped up, after receiving memories, he knew what was his job. As he made his way out of his house, he slowly made his way into the village, with stealth and precision that was not capable of an old man. He made his way past the rain ninjas, making his way towards the highest tower. He had to do this quickly, as he placed 2 fingers on the ground. He couldn't afford to get caught. If they were here, he couldn't afford to use so much chakra because they would sense him right away, even though the rain was not pouring. That was a good thing though, as he sent out small, tiny bursts of chakra that went towards the tower. It took a while, but he felt nothing. Alarms started to go off in his head because he felt nothing at all. No one was inside the tower. With one quick movement, 2 other old men appeared beside him. They were replicas of him. As the both of them made their way, moving at tremendous speed that was beyond any old man. As they made their way up to the tower, this was the perfect opportunity that they were looking for. This was a complete first. They had never tried to sneak in here before because if Konan was not here, Pain was here. And Konan was always here flying through the village. So this was a first. The place was empty. But if the place was empty, that was not good. That means something was wrong. What would cause the both of them to leave? As one of the old men made his way, when he came up on the stairs leading down, he made his way underground as he quickly made his way down the stairs. He had to quickly jump toward the side and conceal his body in the shadows when he saw Konan there. But he felt something strange. This was not her. Well, not the real her. This was a paper clone, and she was guarding that door. Was there something important behind that door? Meanwhile, inside of that room was the other paths that Pain did not bring with him. After all, he wasn't going there to attack or find Naruto. He wanted Naruto to lose his mind and come here. He wanted Naruto to be in a fit of rage and anger, for them to be able to easily take him down. With that, the old man suddenly disappeared, leaving behind no smoke to show that he was here. The original old man then got all the memories. Back with the real Naruto, he got the memories as well. It seems that you have gotten quite powerful, able to take on an army like this, without breaking much of a sweat. Golden blurs the voice. As Naruto did not move because he knew the person was over there towards a boulder, he slowly stepped forward, acting like he was ignoring the person. So is this what it comes to now? We're making casual visits to each other. You know, we're not that good of a friends. The person chuckled darkly, as Naruto felt uneasy by this person's voice. Like there was a hint of amusement in his voice, like he knows something that Naruto did not know. So tell me, why are you here? Are you trying to threaten me again, Naruto asks. On the contrary, I came here to move forward that threat. Naruto snapped his head towards the man. What the hell does that mean? I told you to stop interfering with my plans. But you still did. So I had to send someone to, well, go through that threat of mine. What the hell is that supposed to mean, Naruto asks. You think I was kidding? I told you to stop interfering with the Akatsuki plans. But you gone ahead and killed Kisame. That was the last straw that I gave you. So now, the only thing left to do is to show you that I wasn't kidding around. And to make you understand. And see, next time when I tell you something, you should just keep away from it. Oh, and when you return home, I should give you some information. The person that caused all of that chaos caused what's in Naruto as his anger started to flare. He's at the hidden rain, waiting for you. You should see what I'm talking about when you get home. With that, the masked man disappeared in a swirling vortex. Naruto wastes no time as he connected the Hirishin kunai at his house. As he flashed away. Back at Konoha, Naruto reappeared inside his house. Everything seemed fine. He didn't have his sage mode on to connect to everything and sense everything that was going on around him. But he felt off. He quickly called out, but he heard nothing. No one was there. As he rushed towards the training field, nothing. He rushed towards the front yard. As he saw the gate was wide open. Why wasn't it closed? As he quickly made his way forward, pushing past the gate and going outside, he felt his heart. It felt like something had just ran right through his heart. As he saw two bodies lying there on the ground. The both of them unmoving. Tears instantly formed in the corner of his eyes. The tears started to come down. As he stepped forward, he felt like his heart was about to give out on him. His breathing became ragged. He could barely breathe. As he dropped to his knees, the tears couldn't hold back anymore as they started to pour out as much as they can. All he could do was watch in shock, looking down the two bodies that were not moving. It was Yujiro and Hayate. Naruto reached forward to touch her face, but his hand was so shaking he couldn't. As he moved back, he stumbled. As he just stood there, he then closed his eyes. The next second he opened it, Sage Mode was activated. As he spread his senses all over the village, as he felt it, all of the pain. He could feel a life force leaving many people. He stepped back in shock once again as he couldn't feel them. As he couldn't feel Uncle. Where's Kushina? But he then sensed it as he sensed a small energy. It seemed to be in distraught. He could understand why though. He created two clones to look after these two bodies. As he made his way as fast as possible, as he came upon all the chaos, everything was destroyed. As Naruto looked around, pure chaos, people were crying. He saw many slugs all over the place. It was Nari's. She was using them to heal the people. As Naruto rushed towards Kushina life force so he could sense it. As he saw many piles of rock, he quickly dived as he started to throw the rocks away. But what he saw shot the hell out of him. He saw Anko with a rod piercing through her. It was a pipe that must have stabbed her when the entire village went boom. But she was over something. Naruto gently held on to Anko, putting her aside as he felt nothing. His heart snapped once again. He then heard the crying as he saw Kushina. He quickly threw away the rubble. Her eyes snapped up. Tears, bruises all over her. She saw him as she lunged forward as he caught her. Instantly, she started to cry. She didn't know what else to do but cry. As he just stood there and held on to her. That was all that he could do, was just hold on to her. He then heard a voice as the tears were pooling down. As he slowly turned to see Tsunade, he picked up Kushina as he made his way over. As Tsunade looked at him, she saw the look on his face. Seeing him in this pain, seeing what the village has been resorted to. Tears started to form in her eyes as well. Lady Hokage is the voice. As Naruto turned to see Sakura helping over a wounded Sasuke. As she came to a stop, "Naruto, you're here," she said. As a bruised Kakashi then showed up as well. And after that, Guy's team showed up as well. "What the hell happened?" said Tenten as she looked around. As she noticed Naruto carrying a little girl in his arms, who was just holding on to him for dear life. As a clone had removed the rod from Anko and leaned up her body against the wall. As next to her, a few feet away, another clone was attending to the dead body of Teiwaya, as it leaned her up as well. As Kushina was shaking in his arms, probably out of fear or still shock, the entire crowd was just silent. The attack was just so sudden. Explosions, and then the entire village was resorted to this. Tsunade started to collapse, but Sakura caught her. She had given up a lot of her chakra to heal the people that were alive after the chaos. What the hell happened to the voice? As the person was moving fast, he made his way over there. Jiraiya arrived with a shocked look on his face. As he looked over at Tsunade, "Haim, what happened?" he said. "Pain," she said. His spies had been following on the leader of the Akatsuki. Being somewhere in the hidden rain, he was going to go there soon and bring Naruto along with him so they could find out if it was true. All of that talk was cut by Kushina, breaking away from Naruto. He killed Dad," she said. As Naruto just looked at her. "And Mom, she told Uncle to take me," and Kushina looked over. As she looked at Uncle, "Why is she not getting up? What's wrong with her, big brother? Don't tell me that she's..." As Naruto just looked at her, still holding her in his arms. Tears were freely pouring down his cheek. He then went down on one knee before placing her on her feet. "Can you stand?" he asked. She slowly nodded, still crying. "Look at me," he said, as he gave her a smile. "Everything's gonna be okay. Your mom, Dad, Uncle, everyone is gonna come back, okay? Come back?" Hearing that her crying slowly stopped. "Yeah, I'm gonna make sure that all of them come back. So you don't have to worry, okay? Just remember, I love you," he said. As she didn't understand. How are you gonna do that, big brother? "You have faith in me, right?" As she nodded, the entire group was there listening to the conversation that was going on. As the way Naruto was talking, what was he planning? As Naruto smiled at Kushina, "Hey, Tenten," he said. "Can you watch over her?" As Tenten was the closest to him. "Yeah, sure," Tenten said. "Naruto-kun, what are you..." As Naruto reached into his pouch, he unraveled a scroll before poof, as a plain white mass appeared. "Hey kid, what are you gonna do?" asked Jiraiya as he stepped forward. "I'm gonna fix this, even if I have to do it by myself. Because this," Naruto says, he looked around. "This time, he won't be forgiven." "What are you talking about?" said Jiraiya. As Naruto created a clone, the clone then suddenly poofed away. Before, he turned towards Tsunade as he gave her a small smile. "Don't worry, Bachan. Everything's gonna be fine," he said. "Hey, Perfect Sage, the village is in a weakened condition right now, so you're gonna need to stay here to make sure that everyone is okay. After all, the village still needs protecting against any other enemy foe right now. But don't worry, I'll take care of the big one." As he pulled out a seal and placed it right on his chest, before the seal glowed and suddenly vanished into his skin. As the group was looking at him, "Naruto, what are you talking about?" said Kakashi. "What are you planning on doing?" he asked. "Naruto, they're right," said Tsunade. "What are you going to do?" she said. as she was confused by the declaration that he made. He was going to bring them back. I said, I'm going to bring them all back. Naruto ruffled Kushina's hair. I'll be back soon, okay? As he put on the mask. Tsunade noticed that Jiraiya gulped a bit when Naruto placed on the mask. It was then that she saw through the eye hole of the mask his eyes. They went, well, emotionless. Sasuke then spoke as he had his bandage on. Do what you have to do, he said, but come back alive. Oh, I have to, said Naruto. You guys just stay here. I'm the only one that can do this, he said. With that, his body vanished like he was summoned. As Tsunade and the others looked around. He's gone, said Neji. His Byakugan activated. This is bad, said Jiraiya. What is he going to do? What exactly is going on? Tsunade shouted at him, but she could barely keep herself up as Sakura was the one helping her. The last time we put on that mask was when we broke up a slave trade. When the man had children, 9-year-olds and 10-year-olds. It was then I saw like something switch in Naruto's mind. For him to put on that mask, he became so cold. He did things. Now, I believe he's going to do something similar to what he did back there. Jiraiya had no clue that Naruto also knew about the connection, or where pain. He quickly turned towards Tsunade. I need you to tell me everything about the enemy, he said. Meanwhile, at the hidden rain, as Naruto arrived in the house, looking over towards the old man that was there, the old man waved through hand sign as his body returned back to normal. It was a blood clone of Naruto. He pulled the seal off his chest as he gave it to Naruto. Thank you, Naruto said. The clone nodded at him. It was my pleasure, he said, working for you. Don't be so modest, Naruto said. After all, you're still me. But you know if you do this, you might not make it. Yeah, said Naruto. As his tone relayed nothing on his emotions, you couldn't even see his face anymore because of the mask. As Naruto touched a clone on his shoulder, before the clone unraveled and vanished. Hey, Kurama, said Naruto. Yeah, Kurama said, never is that tone. We've already talked about this, and I guess I'm going to the worst option. Do you have to, said Kurama. Yeah, I'm sorry, pal, said Naruto. But it has to be done. And even if I die, you'll be free, right? Yeah, Kurama said, never is that tone. He didn't sound like he wanted to be free. As Naruto stepped out of the house, his eyes slowly changing, Sage mode, mixed with Kurama's chakra as he had a cross in his eye. As he made his way onto the street, the moment he did, he was surrounded by rain ninjas. As Naruto wasted no time, he moved forward with such speed, the first one couldn't even move. As Naruto snapped the man's neck with a punch, breaking it, and threw his body to the side. With incredible speed, he moved off. Ninjas started to fall like raindrops. Time skip at the sewer system of the rain, as Konan and Naruto made their way up. As they were going through the sewer system, they had told Zetsu to give them time until they arrived back before informing the Golden Blur about what happened. After all, precautions need to be set up. But they suddenly heard something. Thunder. Explosions of thunder. As lightning started cracking through the sky, well, not that they could see, because they were in the tunnel system. Didn't you stop the rain? Asked Konan. I did, he said. So, is that natural? She asked. He didn't say anything as he just went up, making his way towards the largest tower from the underground support. He then felt it. Konan, something is wrong. He's already here. What? But how? You told him to wait before informing him. It doesn't matter. It's time. As the pods then open up, as the rest of the bodies then stepped out, Tendo was the one that stepped forward. Wings extended from Konan's back as she flew forward, going up towards the edge. Right here, she said. She was surprised for him to be so bold, to step in here and wait right here. Konan then flew around as she stood there. She saw the person on the tongue of the monster, upon the tallest building. He was just sitting there. She turned her head towards the village. It was then that she saw it. Countless dead bodies. Blood was spread everywhere. As she heard crying, she quickly made paper clones, to evacuate the people from the city immediately. She saw that most of the ninjas were killed. Even after facing off against so many ninjas that they trick him to be bandits, he still looked like he's ready to go another round, with a large number of them. She knew that this was a terrible idea, for him to fight in the heat rain. So many damage was going to happen. So many lives has already been lost. Tendo Pain stepped out. A distance away from Naruto as Naruto is back turned to him. Konan, Naruto said. She was surprised. How did he? Nagato, said Naruto. That caught Pain off guard. How did he know their names? Did it hurt when Yaiko died? That shocked them even more, as they did not understand how did he know these things. Did it hurt when Hanzo gave you a choice, either kill Yaiko or Konan died? How do you, said Konan. I asked you a question, Naruto shouted, as his voice showing pure raw anger. As the thing that he was on started to crack, the lightning started to crackle more in the sky. Thunder started to boom. Sorry, I guess I lost my temper there for a second, he said. I saw what killed her. It wasn't the explosion of the ability that you use. Instead, it was a rod. A rod also killed Hayate. So you personally came after my family. For Obito. Who's Obito? Said Konan. Seems like Obito has tricked the both of you quite well. To think that you were so stupid, calling yourself a god. And you made out Uchiha trick you into believing that he is the almighty Madara Uchiha, and you follow along with everything. But it doesn't matter now, said Naruto. As he got to his feet, as he turned towards Tendo. It's a shame those eyes of yours are fake. Sorry, I'm only after the originals. So tell me, Nagato, where do you want to die, he asks. But guys, me and subscribe right here. Post next part, if you know what to do. Like, subscribe, comment down below, turn bell notifications stay posted. Remember, share to all of your friends in your social media platform. But I'm off for now, see you guys soon. Peace.